Before I click that link and start the meter running, I'm going to make sure I've plotted out my mad dash to my well-crafted and meticulously timed notes. Got my water at hand, because I know once I start. Okay. Hi, I'm Larry from TechEd. We're an Ann Arbor company specializing in usability, user interface design, information architecture, and accessibility. I started using these because I couldn't push my dad's wheelchair and open a door at the same time. Now I use them whenever I feel like it. I'm not lazy. Sometimes I have my hands full or I've got a rolling briefcase, but they're there. Why not use them? And what a wonderful convenience these are. For bicycles, skateboards, wheelchairs, luggage, and segways, curb cuts just make life easier. They're there. Why not use them? As in the physical world, we may plan our websites to include conveniences for people with impairments. We read accessibility standards and guidelines, do our best to interpret them, not always an easy task, and then do our best to implement our interpretations. Now, what we sometimes get are less than ideal implementations. We can follow accessibility standards, guidelines, and technical requirements to a T, but if we ignore usability and lack empathy, we have not improved the world for anybody. So the need for an accessible website is often driven by legal requirements, something we do for people with special needs or impairments. While this is true, it is more accurate to say we need websites that accommodate everybody, period. So the fact is we can all be somewhat impaired at one time or another. In the right location or situation, you can be as impaired as anyone with a traditional disability. When using your phone, when you're injured, when circumstances make it awkward, when the mind is willing but the eyes and fingers ain't what they used to be. I hope to show briefly that what is required for persons with impairments are very nice features indeed for the rest of us as well. For example, individuals with hearing impairments need captions, but they're useful for the rest of us too. You might be in a noisy subway car or watching a Scottish movie. Or the content may include words you don't recognize or words that are not spelled the way they sound. Similarly, transcripts can be useful for everyone. You might want to annotate or take notes on a podcast of interest to you. The audio portion may have garbled sections, or several people might be speaking at the same time. Someone with a visual impairment won't know what this picture represents if there is no alternative text. Even the rest of us might need alt text to know this is a picture of 3 frogs that have highly developed camouflage capabilities. The text and background colors in the title of this slide also appear in my Facebook posts. Poor contrast can cause legibility problems for anyone, especially in bright sunlight or glare. And the smaller the text, the less legible it will be with any given combination of color. A screen reader user may have to suffer with the list of links on the left, but all of us have to suffer with those on the right. These are inspired by actual sites. Now, these violate multiple accessibility guidelines, at least 3 that I can count. And have you ever seen an error message, terse or verbose, that meant nothing to you? Accessibility guidelines cover error identification and prevention, not to mention instructions and help. Imagine dealing with these kinds of messages and an impairment. So these examples are just the tip of the iceberg, from accessible forms on popular websites to requirements for the structure of content to the highest levels of language, meaning, and understanding. Accessibility standards can improve the web experience for all of us. And these, for example, all of these kinds of users are people who might benefit from accessibility improvements. I might add that I'm in this list at least once. Did I mention there are a number of additional reasons to incorporate accessibility into your design process? Well, there are, mostly of the potential variety, but that's another day and another presentation. So, whatever your take on this issue, the idea that accessibility and elegant design are at odds is an outdated one. If you must know, I feel that only the left implementation offers an affordance for grasping. However, There is often one simple, cost-effective solution that can meet the needs of all users, with or without impairments, regardless of preference. Yes, I'm okay with this solution too. In closing, I just want to apologize for violating Guideline 2.2 of the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines version 2.0 in this presentation, to wit, provide users enough time to read and use content.